What's going on, sports card hobby family? It is another day. It is another sports card video. We are back.
Yes!
It is officially National Week, and you know what else it is? Training camp week in the NFL. Training camp is starting, and for all us football fans, it's starting to get exciting. We're moving to fall, about to see how our teams kind of round out their rosters. And so we're going to talk about QB prospecting. I'll get into the details of it in a second, but also wanted to announce tonight we've got a live stream on my channel. It'll be myself, Neo Cards and Comics, Flipping Steve, Michael Ham, and a special guest that will join us for a few minutes just to talk national stuff. Should be a good time. We'll start at 9:45 Eastern. Will not be a 3-hour stream as we all have really busy weeks leading up to the national, but will be fun to connect kind of leading up to talk national stuff. Also, big thanks to today's video sponsor, COMC.com, your home for buying, selling, and flipping all the hottest trading cards. Their consignment marketplace now home to over 32 million cards from baseball's biggest stars like Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, and Mookie Betts to Marvel favorites like Spider-Man, Thor, and Captain America. COMC has something for every type of collector, so make sure to visit COMC today to build out your collection with your favorite cards. And don't forget, they've got a big booth at the National if you want to bring cards directly to them there. All right, friends, if you go to the National, you know that QB prospecting and quarterback cards, football cards, are usually pretty popular. There's a lot of excitement around football cards leading up into the NFL season. And so you see a lot of QB trading and this and that and whatever. We just so happen to be in an era where there is tremendous QB talent in the NFL currently, led by, of course, my New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr. I think that goes without saying. A lot of Patrick Mahomes talk and Josh Allen, all these folks. It's Derek Carr. It's our year. It's our year, guys. No, we will not be talking about Derek Carr today. We're going to focus in on the 2020 products and kind of the draft class around there. 3 in particular, 3 of the top QBs in the NFL right now: Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts. And I thought this would be good because, again, it's that same kind of draft class product where you've got 2020 Prism, has all these guys in it. I think I'm going to make a separate video with the Josh Allen, the Patrick Mahomes, and some of these other guys that are also amazing talents. But for now, we're just going to focus on these just to kind of keep it all consistent. So let's look at what pricing has done over the last 3 months. Let me also kind of caveat with, we're looking over the last 3 months. What's going on with these guys? Have they been moving up, stagnant, going down over the last 3 months leading up into the season? How much spec money still kind of hanging on with some of these guys? All right, so Justin Herbert, Optic Hollow PSA 10, $452. That is up 12% from the last 3 months. The Prism Silver in a 10, PSA 10, is sitting at $1,575, down 1.6%. Now, I've included, this is kind of interesting. So for Herbert and Burrow, I've got the 2019, the Select XRC, a popular card, the XRC, with collectors of QB's football cards in general, but only 5 sales in a PSA 10. So let's keep in mind that low sales on this card and a lot of the other cards I'm talking about here. There's not massive volume in sales for all of these, so we take this stuff with a grain of salt. But the XRC sitting at $1445, and this one up 60%. But again, 5 sales over the last 3 months, so it can vary all over the place. So while it does look like it's up, 60%, again, it can just be timing. Very few sales dictating these percentages. All right, so Joe Burrow, same sort of deal. The Prism Silver in a 10, $2,640. Goodness. Plus 1.54% over the last 3 months. And I'm just thinking about kind of Hall of Fame QB stuff that you can get for $2,600. Montana rookie. You can almost get a PSA 9 Montana rookie card, 81 tops, a PSA 9 of that card for about the same price as a Burrow Prism Silver PSA 10. That's kind of mind-boggling to me. I just kind of thought about that as we were talking. Almost. All right, so Optic Hollow PSA 10, $520, negative 13% over the last 3 months. The same XRC and a PSA 10, and again, 5 sales of this particular card. It's up 7%, $1,370. Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, just seems like there's a lot of spec money sitting on Burrow. In other words, I don't think that people are really bailing on him. I think that people are just kind of in more of a hold. If his prices do fall down, I just think there's a lot of belief in him, and it just makes sense. The guy just looks really crisp. He just happens to be running up against Patrick Mahomes, who might go down as one of the all-time greats if he continues on the same way that he's been. So it's just this Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes battle out there in the AFC. And unfortunately, Justin Herbert, another great talent, is out there as well, trying to battle these guys. And then there's other we're not even getting into Trevor Lawrence and some of these other guys. But anyway, so we've got Joe Burrow kind of stagnant, a lot of it just fairly flat here over the last 3 months as we head into the National. Jalen Hurts, though, on the other hand, his stuff has actually moved up over the last 3 months. Prism Silver 10 at $1,000, which looks like absolute bargain shopping compared to the Joe Burrow. It's up 53% over the last 3 months at that $1,000 price point. Optic Downtown, and I picked Optic Downtown because I was looking through Card Ladder. They don't have the Optic Hollow in their system. So I went to the Optic Downtown. That's the Optic one that they've got in a PSA 10. $2,111 with those downtowns being very popular and expected to be short printed. Up 5%, but again, 5 sales of that card. We're just not seeing a lot of volume. There's not a lot of them out there. So that's why you have it that way. And so I also threw in no XRC in Card Ladder system for this one to make kind of a clean comparison. So I did the Color Match 2020 Prism Green, which is a really cool card. If you're an Eagles fan, you got the Prism Green, which is funny. Prism Greens never get any sort of love really, unless it's like Jason Tatum or it's now Jalen Hurts, if it's Eagles or if it's Celtics. And so in a PSA 10, $495, not a numbered card, but a cool looking card. That's up 33%. But again, 18 sales over the last 3 months. So, these things can vary to some degree. But Jalen Hurts is one where there has been, I think, some additional speculation money coming off of the Super Bowl loss to where folks are, hey, you know what? I'll take a shot at Jalen Hurts stuff at this price point is basically what we're seeing here. I see 2 big risks when it comes to that 2020 Prism draft class. It could very well turn out that all 3 of these guys or more of these guys are the next Joe Montana or whatever it is. But odds are they won't all be, maybe none of them. Maybe none of them will be. And so obviously the number one risk for this, with the amount of money that's been poured into these guys, is just the player working out. And also being hobby relevant, because you have some guys that have been fantastic players and we're all wondering, like, how come this player's cards aren't worth more than the other and blah, blah, blah. So having that combination of just the player working out and then hobby relevance attached to it. The other part that it concerns me about this is that print runs in 2020, they're not the same as what they are now. We assume they're probably higher now. They continued on just kind of moving up, and we've got all sorts of different parallels, new parallels, different levels. Select has got toilet level parallel, restroom level parallels to go with the suite level and the club level and all the stuff, right? But I think there's still a lot. Well, I know there is. I know there's a lot of retail product that hasn't been opened yet, as well as hobby boxes for 2020 Prism and Optic and selecting these products, to where eventually this stuff gets open. Eventually more of them go to grading, which of course means supply goes up. And if you don't have the collector / speculator base / investor base to keep up with that increasing supply, what does that typically mean? They hit the market, prices move downward. So those are the 2 big risks. There's a supply thing there. Right now, it looks like pop counts on like the PSA 10 or the SGC 10, the Beckett 9.5, it looks like pop counts are relatively low. But what's that going to look like in 3 to 5 years if you're a holder of these cards? Now, if you're just buying and selling them, short term, hey, we're, hold it for 6 months, hold it for a year, flip it, this, that, that's a different story. But if you're a holder, if you're kind of looking, hey, you know what, love this guy, I want to sit on it for, a long period of time, that to me is a red flag. It's a risk, is the supply sitting out there and eventually it gets opened, breakers get into it, they go off for grading, and then maybe there's, twice as many PSA 10s in a year, 2 years, 5 years than they are now. And of course, the more supply, it's going to have an effect unless you just have demand rising with it or above it. That is the only way that it works out. But these are big risks, that are kind of attached to these guys. All right, second part of the show, we got an announcement that it looks like PWCC founder, it's Brett Huggins or Huggins. I'm not exactly sure how to say his last name, but he is the founder of PWCC. It looks like he has exited, according to Darren Ravel, is where I saw this on Twitter, I think. And Darren Ravel makes a comment of that Fanatics is cleaning up the hobby. That was obviously a shot at Brett from Darren Ravel. PWCC's gone through such like ups and downs as far as popularity. There are some folks that love PWCC and there are some that do not. Obviously, you had kind of the shill bidding allegations going back to eBay, removing them off of the platform. Did they remove them off the platform for that reason? Or was it because they were building their own marketplace and eBay was just trying to get ahead of it? I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to that, but Fanatics now owns PWCC. What will that morph into over time? A lot of speculation. I've said it too. Will they change the name? Will it be Fanatics Marketplace instead of PWCC Marketplace? Does PWCC have a strong brand name in the hobby to where Fanatics wants to hold on to it? Or do they want to change it? And so there's a lot of interesting things that go into it. But I guess if you're somebody that has cards in the PWCC marketplace or you're selling, you're probably not unhappy that Fanatics, the conglomerate, is now at the helm of PWCC. So, we'll just have to see how that shakes out. They weren't stupid in buying that asset. PWCC does have a great vault. They do have a good website selling system. It's not cheap to build these things out. And so that's why Fanatics comes in and acquires these companies, because the thought of kind of building it up from the ground up, it's a lot of work. It might not work out. It takes a lot of time. And so it seemed like a pretty obvious transaction for them to make. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you pumped for football season? Who's your favorite team? Who are you buying into or excited about? Throw it into the comment section below as we get ready for the NFL season. All right, guys, stay healthy. Stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.